I've always been drawn to the abandoned and forgotten. That's why when I heard about the old high school at the edge of town, I couldn't resist. They say it's been deserted for decades, a relic of the past. But rumors swirl around it, whispers of people, feral and lost, roaming its halls. I approached the school on a cloudy afternoon, the sky a dull gray, the air thick with the promise of rain. The building loomed before me, its windows shattered, walls covered in graffiti. It was like stepping into another time, a place forgotten by the world. As I entered the main hallway, my flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing peeling paint and debris-strewn floors. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the sound of my own breathing and the occasional drip of water from the ceiling. I moved cautiously, my heart racing with every shadow that seemed to shift in the corner of my eye. The atmosphere was heavy, charged with a sense of unease. I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone, that eyes were watching me from the darkness. As I explored the classrooms, their desks still arranged in neat rows, I imagined the students who once filled them. Laughter, chatter, the everyday sounds of life, now replaced by an eerie stillness. I found my way to the gymnasium, its vast space a cavern of shadows. The bleachers were covered in dust, the basketball hoops hanging crookedly. It was here that I first heard it, a faint scuffling sound, like footsteps, but not quite human. I froze, straining my ears, my breath caught in my throat. The sound stopped as suddenly as it had started, leaving me in suffocating silence. My mind raced with possibilities, animals, the wind, my imagination. But deep down, I feared it was something else, something far more sinister. I pushed on, driven by a mix of fear and curiosity. The deeper I ventured into the school, the stronger the sensation grew. A primal, unsettling feeling that I was trespassing into a domain where I didn't belong. As I stood there, in the heart of the forsaken hallways, I knew that the stories might be true. Maybe there were others here, hidden in the shadows, watching me. And I couldn't help but wonder, what would they do if they found me? I continued deeper into the abandoned school, each step taking me further into its forgotten world. The air grew colder, the shadows darker. I found myself in a long corridor, lockers lining the walls, their doors hanging open like gaping mouths. As I walked, I imagined the echoes of the past, the laughter of students, the slamming of locker doors, the hustle of changing classes. But now, there was only silence, a haunting void where life once thrived. I came across the school library, its shelves still stocked with books, now coated in dust and decay. The sight of those abandoned books, once a source of knowledge and escape, now felt like a monument to a world that no longer existed. It was in the library that I first saw them, drawings on the wall, crude and childlike. They depicted figures, some human, some not, and a large ominous shape that loomed over them. The artwork was unsettling, a window into a troubled mind. I felt a chill run down my spine as I studied the drawings. They were recent, the lines sharp and unweathered. Someone had been here, someone who saw this desolate place as their canvas. Moving on, I found the science lab. Beakers and test tubes lay scattered, textbooks open on desks. But it was the far corner of the room that caught my attention. A small encampment, blankets, and food wrappers, evidence of habitation. My heart pounded in my chest. This was proof. Someone or something was living here. The reality of the rumors hit me then. A tangible presence in this place of memories and dust. I heard it again, that soft, scurrying sound, closer this time. I spun around, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness, but there was nothing. Just the empty room and the shadows cast by my light. I knew I should leave, that I was delving into something dangerous, something beyond my understanding. But the mystery of this place, the stories hidden within its walls, compelled me to go further. I found the auditorium next, its stage shrouded in darkness, the seats covered in a thick layer of dust. As I stepped onto the stage, the beam of my flashlight fell on something. A doll, old and ragged, lying center stage. The doll's eyes seemed to stare right through me, a silent witness to the passage of time. It was a stark reminder that this place, once full of life and laughter, was now a tomb of memories, a sanctuary for the forgotten. I left the auditorium, my mind racing with questions. Who were the inhabitants of this forsaken place? What stories did they carry with them? The school was like a puzzle, each piece revealing more of its tragic tapestry. As I ventured onward, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every shadow seemed to hide a secret. Every whisper of wind a voice from the past. The school was speaking to me, and I couldn't help but listen. As the afternoon light began to fade, the corridors grew darker, more menacing. I found myself standing before the gymnasium, its doors slightly ajar. The once vibrant hub of energy and athleticism now lay silent, a hollow shell. Inside, the remnants of sports banners clung to the walls, their colors faded, their messages of victory and spirit echoing a time long past. The wooden floor was littered with debris, a ghostly reminder of the games and gatherings that once filled this space. I wandered through the empty bleachers, each step stirring up clouds of dust. It was here, in the dim light, that I found something chilling. A series of handprints, small and childlike, trailing along the wall. They were fresh, the edges sharp against the dust-covered surface. A shiver ran down my spine. The handprints were a stark, unnerving contrast to the decay around me. They led to a door at the far end of the gym, slightly ajar, leading into darkness. Beyond the door was a narrow hallway, the air stale and thick. I could barely see, my flashlight struggling against the suffocating blackness. As I made my way forward, the sense of being watched grew stronger, more oppressive. I stumbled upon an old classroom, its desks overturned, the chalkboard covered in indecipherable scribbles. In the corner lay a pile of belongings, clothes, cans, a few personal items. It was clear someone had been staying here, a transient existence amidst the ruins. The room felt heavy, saturated with the presence of its unseen occupant. I could almost hear their whispers, feel their breath on the back of my neck. I was intruding on someone's refuge, a sanctuary in this place of desolation. I quickly left the room, my heart racing. The corridors seemed to close in around me, the shadows stretching and twisting. The building was no longer just an abandoned structure. It had become a living entity, its memories and secrets pulsating within its walls. As night began to fall, the school transformed. The familiar became foreign, the silence grew heavier. I knew I needed to leave, to escape this place and its haunting grip. But something kept me moving forward, deeper into the heart of the school, towards a truth I wasn't sure I wanted to discover. The abandoned high school held more than just the echoes of the past. It was a vessel for untold stories, for lives left behind. And as I delved further into its depths, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not just an observer, but a part of its unfolding narrative. The deeper I ventured into the school, the more the line between reality and nightmare blurred. The halls twisted and turned, a labyrinth of shadows and forgotten memories. I found myself in the old art room, the walls adorned with faded murals and half-finished projects. The air was thick with the scent of old paint and mildew. Drawings and paintings lay scattered, their subjects ranging from the mundane to the disturbing. Faces with no eyes, landscapes twisted into nightmarish visions. It felt like a gallery of the damned, each piece a glimpse into a troubled soul. Leaving the art room, I stumbled upon the remnants of the faculty lounge. Magazines and newspapers, their pages yellowed with age, littered the tables. A coffee mug sat, its contents long since evaporated, a silent testament to a hurried departure. I pressed on, driven by an inexplicable need to uncover the school's secrets. The next corridor led me to the administrative offices. Files and documents were strewn about, a chaotic snapshot of the school's final days. I sifted through the papers, seeking any clue to the school's abrupt abandonment. But it was a photograph that caught my attention. A staff photo, faces smiling, unaware of the doom that awaited them. Among them, I saw something unsettling. A face in the back, blurred, almost hidden, but its eyes seemed to stare directly at me. Leaving the offices, I found myself in the old theater. The stage was set as if for a play long forgotten, the props and costumes shrouded in dust. It was here, in the ghostly silence of the auditorium, that I heard it, a voice singing softly, hauntingly. I froze, listening intently. The singing continued, a lullaby that seemed both beautiful and tragic. I followed the sound, drawn to it, until I realized it was emanating from beneath the stage. I found a trapdoor, its hinges rusted but functional. With a deep breath, I opened it, the light from my flashlight piercing the darkness below. The singing stopped abruptly, replaced by a silence that felt like a held breath. Descending the ladder, I entered a narrow space, the air stale and cold. It was a storage area, filled with old props and set pieces. In the corner, I found the source of the singing, a dusty old radio, its antenna twisted but somehow still operational. The realization sent a chill down my spine. Someone had been here, recently enough to activate the radio. I felt a presence around me, as if I were being watched from the shadows. I scrambled back to the ladder, my heart pounding in my chest. As I climbed, I heard a sound that stopped me cold, a soft, mocking laughter echoing from the darkness below. Back in the auditorium, I struggled to catch my breath, my mind racing. The school was no longer just an abandoned relic. It was a living entity, its hallways and rooms whispering secrets of the past. I wandered through the gymnasium, the locker rooms, each step taking me further into the heart of the mystery. The air grew heavier, the silence more oppressive. I felt like an intruder, a trespasser in a world that did not welcome me. In the old science wing, I discovered a lab, its equipment still intact. Beakers, flasks, and test tubes lay scattered, a chaotic testament to a hasty evacuation. The chalkboard was covered in formulas and equations, their meaning lost to time. It was in the biology lab that I found it, a journal, its pages filled with frantic scribbled notes. The handwriting was erratic, the words tinged with madness. It spoke of experiments, of discoveries that defied explanation, of something unearthed beneath the school. The further I read, the more the hairs on my neck stood on end. The journal alluded to something ancient, something that lay dormant beneath the school, waiting to be awoken. The final entry was a plea, a warning, to leave, to forget the school and its secrets. I closed the journal, my mind reeling. The school was more than just a shell of its former self. It was a gateway to something dark and unknowable, and I had stepped right through it. As night fell, the school transformed. The shadows grew longer, the whispers louder. I knew I needed to leave, to escape the suffocating grip of this place. But a part of me was compelled to stay, to uncover the truth hidden in the depths of this forsaken school. The abandoned high school was no longer just a building. It was a living, breathing entity, its secrets woven into the very fabric of its walls. And as I delved deeper into its heart, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not alone, that the shadows held more than just darkness. As the shadows of the night grew longer, the school seemed to come alive with a sinister energy. The walls whispered secrets of the past, and the air was thick with the presence of unseen watchers. I found myself standing before the old swimming pool, its surface a mirror of darkness. The pool was empty, a gaping void in the heart of the school. Graffiti adorned the tiles, some recent, others faded by time. Among the scrawls, I noticed a recurring symbol, a circle with an intricate pattern inside, almost ritualistic. It appeared throughout the building, an ominous sigil that seemed to hold a deeper meaning. Drawn by an inexplicable urge, I descended the steps into the empty pool. The air grew colder, and I felt a pressure in the air, as if the very atmosphere was charged with an ancient power. My flashlight flickered, casting long, distorted shadows against the walls. In the depths of the pool, I found something. A hatch, partially hidden beneath debris. My heart raced as I cleared the rubble, revealing a rusted metal door. It was locked, but the padlock was old, weakened by years of neglect. With effort, I broke the lock and opened the hatch, revealing a narrow tunnel descending into the earth. The air that wafted up was stale, filled with the scent of damp earth and something else, something unidentifiable. I hesitated, knowing that what lay below might be beyond my comprehension. But the need to uncover the truth, to understand the heart of the school's mystery, drove me forward. I descended into the darkness, the beam of my flashlight my only guide. The tunnel was cramped, the walls closing in around me. It twisted and turned, a labyrinth beneath the school. I felt a growing sense of unease, a feeling that I was delving into something ancient, something that should have remained hidden. As I ventured deeper, the tunnel opened into a large cavern. The walls were lined with the same symbols I had seen in the school, but here they were more elaborate, more menacing. In the center of the cavern stood an altar, its surface covered in strange artifacts and dried remnants of something. I approached the altar, my mind racing with possibilities, rituals, cults, forgotten histories. The items on the altar were bizarre. Bones, stones with carvings, and a book, its cover worn and its pages filled with the same cryptic symbols. I opened the book, and as I leafed through its pages, a story began to unfold. It spoke of a group, a cult that had used the school as a front for their activities. They worshipped something they called the Ancient One, a being from beyond the realms of our understanding. The more I read, the more the air around me seemed to pulsate with a dark energy. The cult had performed rituals here, in this very cavern, attempting to commune with the Ancient One. But something had gone wrong, terribly wrong. The book's final pages were frantic, the handwriting erratic. The writer spoke of a breach, a tear in the fabric of reality. They had awakened something they couldn't control. The school was abandoned in haste, but the presence they had summoned remained, trapped within these walls. I closed the book, my mind reeling from the revelations. The school wasn't just a place of education. It had been a gateway to something otherworldly, something malevolent. The feral inhabitants, the strange occurrences, they were all connected to this dark history. As I turned to leave the cavern, I heard it. A sound that chilled me to the bone. A low, guttural growl echoing through the tunnels. It wasn't human, nor animal. It was otherworldly, a manifestation of the Ancient One. I ran, my only thought to escape the suffocating darkness of the tunnel. The growl followed me, a constant reminder of the horror that lurked beneath the school. I emerged from the hatch, gasping for air, the night sky a welcome sight after the oppressive darkness below. As I looked back at the school, its windows dark and its structure imposing, I understood. The building was a vessel, a container for the darkness that the cult had unleashed, and I had glimpsed its true nature, a horror beyond comprehension. I left the school grounds, my mind heavy with the burden of what I had uncovered. The school was more than an abandoned building. It was a nexus of unspeakable horrors, its history a tapestry of madness and darkness. As I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that the school was watching me, its secrets etched into my mind. I knew I could never forget what I had seen, what I had learned. The shadows of the abandoned high school would haunt me forever. The night after my escape from the school, sleep eluded me. My mind was a whirlwind of haunting images and unspeakable horrors. The growl from the depths of the school echoed in my ears, a constant, unyielding reminder of the terror I had witnessed. Lying in my bed, staring at the ceiling, the school's secrets weighed heavily on me. I realized that I couldn't keep this knowledge to myself. The town needed to know, to understand the malevolent force lurking in their midst. The next morning, under a gray, overcast sky, I returned to the school. The building loomed before me, its windows like blind eyes, its walls holding the whispers of the past. I felt a chill as I approached, a sense of being pulled back into its dark embrace. I entered the building, my camera in hand. I needed proof, something to show the world the horrors that lay hidden within these walls. The silence of the abandoned corridors greeted me, a stark contrast to the chaos of the previous night. I made my way to the pool, to the hatch that led to the cavern below. The air felt heavier, charged with an unspoken warning. As I descended into the tunnel, I could feel the eyes of the school upon me, watching my every move. In the cavern, the altar stood as I had left it, the book and artifacts untouched. I photographed everything: the symbols on the walls, the strange items on the altar, the pages of the book. I needed to document this, to expose the truth. But as I photographed the book, a sense of unease washed over me. The words seemed to shift on the page, the symbols twisting into new, more sinister forms. It was as if the book was alive, aware of my presence. I left the cavern, my heart pounding in my chest. The school felt different in the daylight, but the sense of dread remained. Every corner seemed to hide a shadow, every creak a whispered threat. Back in the light of day, I reviewed the photos. They were blurred, distorted, as if the school refused to be captured, its secrets too dark for the camera to hold. Frustration and fear gripped me. Without proof, who would believe the horrors that lay beneath the school? I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, even after leaving the school grounds. The shadows seemed to follow me, clinging to the edges of my vision. I started to see the symbols everywhere, in the patterns of the trees, in the cracks of the sidewalk. The school had left its mark on me, a lingering shadow that I couldn't escape. That night, the nightmares began. Visions of the school, of the cavern and the altar, haunted my dreams. The growl echoed through the halls of my subconscious, a relentless predator in pursuit. I woke up screaming, the darkness of my room suffocating. In the days that followed, I tried to put the school behind me, but its presence was always there, at the edge of my thoughts, a dark stain on my mind. I couldn't go near that part of town without feeling a pull, an unspoken invitation to return to its decaying halls. I started researching the school's history, digging through old newspaper archives and town records. What I found only deepened the mystery: reports of missing persons, unexplained phenomena, and a series of principals who had vanished without a trace. The more I uncovered, the more I realized the school's influence extended far beyond its walls. It was as if the building was the heart of a dark web, its threads woven through the fabric of the town. And at its center, the Ancient One, a presence that defied understanding. I knew then that I couldn't escape the school's grip. It had chosen me, marked me as a witness to its horrors. I could feel its call, a siren song that beckoned me back to its forsaken corridors. As I record this, I know that my time is running out. The school won't let me go, its secrets too great to be ignored. I fear that soon I will become another of its lost souls, another whisper in its halls. If you're hearing this, heed my warning. Stay away from the old high school. Its halls hold a darkness that consumes all who enter. It's not just a building. It's a gateway to something ancient and malevolent, a shadow that lingers long after you've left its embrace. It's been weeks since my last visit to the school, but its grip on me has only tightened. The nightmares are relentless, images of the cavern and the altar invading my sleep, the growl of the Ancient One a constant echo in my mind. I've tried to stay away, to bury the memories and the fear, but the pull of the school is like a tide, relentless and unyielding. I find myself drawn back to its decaying walls, an unwilling pilgrim returning to a forsaken shrine. As I stand before the school once more, the building seems to acknowledge my return. The windows glare like unblinking eyes, the doors beckon me inside. I can feel the presence of the Ancient One, waiting in the shadows. The halls are as I remember, but now there's a sense of anticipation in the air, as if the school is holding its breath. The graffiti, the debris, the echoes of the past, they all feel like part of a ritual, a preparation for something unimaginable. I make my way to the pool, the site of the hatch that leads to the underground cavern. Each step feels heavier, burdened by the knowledge of what lies below. The air grows colder, the darkness deeper. In the cavern, the altar awaits. The artifacts are as I left them, but now there's a sense of power in the air, a vibrating energy that courses through the walls. The book lies open, its pages fluttering as if caught in a non-existent breeze. I realize what I must do. The school, the cult, the Ancient One, they are all connected, and I am the final piece. I must close the breach, seal away the darkness that has been unleashed. I start to rearrange the artifacts, following an instinct that feels ancient and primal. The symbols on the walls begin to glow, a faint light that pulsates with my heartbeat. As I work, the growl of the Ancient One grows louder, more insistent. It knows what I'm attempting, and it's angry, terrified. The air crackles with its rage, the walls shaking with its fury. With the last artifact in place, I step back. The altar shines brighter, the light blinding. I can feel the energy building, a crescendo of power that threatens to consume everything. And then, silence. The light fades, the hum dies down, and the cavern is plunged into darkness. I feel a rush of air, as if a great pressure has been released. I emerge from the hatch, the school quiet around me. The oppressive energy is gone, the weight lifted. As I leave the building, the rain stops, and for the first time in weeks, I feel a sense of peace. But the school's shadow lingers in my mind. I know that what happened here will stay with me forever, a haunting memory of the darkness that lies beneath our world. I record this as a final testament, a warning to those who seek to uncover the hidden horrors of this world. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Some shadows, once cast, stretch on forever. As I walk away from the school, the first rays of dawn breaking through the clouds, I know that my life has been irrevocably changed. I've stared into the abyss, challenged the darkness, and emerged scarred but alive. But the echo of the Ancient One's growl still haunts my dreams, a reminder of the thin veil that separates our world from the unknown. And though the school now lies dormant, its secrets buried once more, I can't shake the feeling that one day it will awaken again.